Nearly 2 decades in the sports broadcast game, and what a ride it's been. Interviews with the 42nd President Bill Clinton, to Lakers legends Kobe Bryant, and the NBA's all-time leading scorer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to name a few. I've been blessed to cover and tell some amazing stories, but there were so many more I didn't get to tell.
My guest on Untold Truths with Telly is Malcolm Brogdon, his first year with the Indiana Pacers, a 4-year NBA vet. Malcolm, can you believe you've been in the NBA for 4 years, man?
Man, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. I remember coming in as a rookie. You were with the Bucks. It was my rookie year there,
Yeah.
man. We've come a long way.
Yes, absolutely. And you're talking about in 2016 when you were a second rounder out of the University of Virginia after becoming the first player in ACC history to win Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Now, that has never happened before in the ACC. And if my recollection serves me well, Michael Jordan, Grant Hill, James Worthy, all these guys have played in the ACC, but you were the first to ever do that. What was the knock, you think, on yourself coming out in 2016 that you slipped into the second round?
Oh, man, I think I had a few. I think it was little things like, not being a good enough athlete, not being able to guard my position, not having the quickness to get past point guards, not shooting the ball. My form wouldn't allow me to shoot the ball with distance. And then overall, it was my age. The older you get, every year you get older in college, it drops your stock that much more. So, I came out a fifth-year senior, and it didn't matter that I had all these accolades. They were like, look, you're this old, and that's going to drop your stock. And then we think you're this type of athlete, that's going to drop it a little more. And then you're going to be in the second round. It doesn't matter how great your college career was.
Gosh, isn't that amazing that you get penalized for wanting to develop your game? Because there's so many people and so many athletes, and you know them, you've seen them since you've been in the NBA, that has all this potential, and everyone says what they're going to do once they get to the NBA. But once they get there, their games isn't near ready for the NBA. And you chose to stay in college, get your education, and develop your game, but you actually get penalized for it.
You get penalized, and man, I think there should be a study put out where people measure, all the fourth and fifth year players that come out compared to all the first and second year players that come out, and how their careers develop. And those should be the analytics that these teams are looking at. Teams are looking at all these other analytics on athleticism and all this other stuff, rather than looking at the analytics that actually matter. And if age is such a big component, you need to bring all the statistics into it. And I think that's something that really should be, looked at.
You talked about all the things that you felt like played against you in that 2016 draft. And even though you were a top 100 recruit coming out of high school, has that been kind of the story of your career, just always having to prove that you can play and play at a high level?
Over and over and over. And it wasn't until I got to it wasn't really until rookie year where everybody started watching and listening. And still to this day, I have doubters. I have people saying, he's, not going to be as good as a Pacer as he was with a Buck. He doesn't have that talent around him. People will always be, but that's the fuel you need. That's the motivation you need. That's what served me so well up until this point, having people telling me you're not good enough, having scouts and coaches, have other players play in front of me. It's just made me work harder, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Does December 31st, 2016 ring a bell for you?
December 31st, 2016. Why do I feel like that's a game we played against the Knicks? Is that right?
No. That you recorded your first triple-double
against the Bulls.
In Chicago.
Yep.
Bulls. I know because I was there.
Yeah, that was a good night for me.
But I'm saying that because that was one of many good nights for you that led to being the Rookie of the Year, the first second-round Rookie of the Year since 1965. How much did that Rookie of the Year award change your life?
I think it might have put my name on the map a little bit. But I think it might have also created more haters, more people doubting me, more people saying that I didn't deserve it. And as far as my status on the team, on the Bucks, didn't change my status at all. I was still, a fourth, fifth fiddle on that team, and I understood that. It was what it was. I was a young player. I really came into my own, I think, my third year with the Bucks. That's when people actually started to take notice.
And that season, you became only the 8th player in NBA history to record a 50, 40, 90 season. For all the basketball junkies out there, you know what that means. But Malcolm shot 50% from the field, 40% from behind three, and 90% from the free throw line. Once again, only becoming the 8th player in NBA history to do so. Was that a goal that you set, or once it kind of started going, you're like, I really have a shot at this?
Well, efficiency is always my goal. And when you're playing with a player like Giannis, he allows you to take easier shots, more high percentage shots. And 50, 40, 90 was something I knew I could achieve, but it was not a goal at the beginning of the season. But as the season progressed, about halfway through, after All-Star break, I knew I should actually go after this. I should try to get it.
And you still didn't get the love you felt like you deserved.
No, and I honestly don't think I'm ever going to get that love. My expectations are for myself are really high. So, I don't expect for anybody else to have as high expectations for me. But it is what it is. It'll continue to fuel me.
That season, you may not have gotten the love from people, but you definitely got love in terms of a contract, signing a 4-year, $85 million deal with the Indiana Pacers during the offseason, and switching teams, switching cities, and all that's fine. But I got to ask, man, when you come in as a second rounder and you're not making that much money, and then all of a sudden $85 million come your way. Now, I get that, that come success will bring financial security. But once you receive that contract, did you kind of look around and have a surreal moment like, whoa, I signed an $85 million contract?
It's crazy because you look at that contract, you have financial security, but then you start to go back to your draft and you look at all these first round and lottery picks that are still on 1-year deals, are out of the league, are not in the position you're in. And it's a testament to my hard work, the support system I have around me, but also just God putting you in a position to succeed and sort of just putting you in the right place.
All right, we come to the part of the show where I'm calling it, man, tell the truth. And I know you're going to be truthful, but I need you to be under oath type honesty out of you right now.
For sure. I can do that.
Okay. Number one, who was your favorite player growing up?
Isaiah Thomas with the Pistons.
Isaiah Thomas. And at what age did you realize that I can actually play and make it to the NBA?
I think my senior year in college, or my senior year in high school.
Wow. With all the doubters, you still knew in your heart I had a chance.
I knew my work ethic could get me there.
Wow. All right. Bigger accomplishment. Your master's degree from Virginia in public policy, or being a second-round NBA pick?
Second-round NBA pick.
Wow. Even though you got a bachelor and master's from UVA and all the things you were able to accomplish academically?
It's just and I'm an academic guy, but when you put up the statistics of how many people make it to the NBA versus how many people get their masters, it's, overwhelmingly the statistics are.
Good point. And you said you're an academic guy. You have 2 older siblings, 2 brothers, one's a lawyer, and both are in law.
Yep.
And you make it to the NBA. Were you considered a slacker because you couldn't cut it in law school, or do you still get the same kind of love?
I was considered the one that took the shortcut. I stopped early and didn't go get a real degree and settled with the NBA.
But you are going to be the one that probably will make the most under this contract than most of them will in their careers too. So you do have that, right?
Absolutely. I hope so.
All right. If I finish this sentence, if I wasn't playing in the NBA, I'd be doing blank.
I'd be living in Africa, helping people, continuing to expand my foundation, my nonprofit work, and giving people quality educations, the younger generations, but also clean water.
Awesome. And that's part of your nonprofit foundation that you founded called Hoops 2.0.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And talk a little more about that and just what you've been trying to accomplish for those who don't know about that foundation.
For sure. You know, it is a water initiative that I founded. We basically bring clean water to Tanzania, East Africa. We build water wells in the ground. We find remote locations around the country where the people in the villages really need it the most. The goal for the water initiative is to recruit one athlete, one NBA player from every team, so that we can get every different community in the NBA to help us fundraise, to bring awareness to it, to shed some light on the issue. I've been successful getting about 10 guys. It's rapidly growing. It was under someone else's foundation. Now I'm bringing Hoops 2.0 under to my foundation. And, you know, it's going to continue to take off. So we're excited, and, you know, it's very fulfilling work.
Awesome stuff, man. I wanted to get that in. Just a couple of more questions for Tell the Truth. Okay, what was your NBA moment when you realized, okay, this is real? On the court.
On the court, I think it was when we played Chicago for the first time, when we played Dwayne Wade. I remember watching him. He was it was like Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, and Dwayne Wade were the three I would always watch, and I loved watching them play. And playing against him was like, man, this is him. Like, this is the guy. Like, I'm playing against him. So that was a pretty awesome moment.
And you are and has always been a very even-keeled guy ever since I've met you. But when you dunked on LeBron, come on, man. you had to feel like, all right.
I felt like I was on top of the world, but I was also
thank you.
I was also nervous running back on defense, like, oh man, he might come after me on that one.
That's awesome. Okay, and last two I got for you. What's your most embarrassing moment on the court?
I've shot a few air balls in my time. That's not that embarrassing.
No.
I feel like there was a player that had a really nice move on me. I can't remember who it was, though. It was a quick point guard that just left me.
Would it have been Kyrie?
It's not Kyrie.
It wasn't Kyrie?
Not Kyrie.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And the thing with Kyrie is when he does a really nice move on you, it's sort of expected. So you're not expected to stay in front of him. So it's not embarrassing when Kyrie gets you, you know?
Exactly.
I can't remember. I'm going to have to come back to that one.
All right. And last one for you. What was the first purchase or big purchase you made once making it to the NBA?
What was that?
And while you're thinking, I want people to realize that you drove the same car basically the whole time. I know you were in Milwaukee for the most part. So it wasn't like you went out and bought like a fancy car or anything. But...
Oh, no. I needed a little space. I leased a Tahoe and just drove that my first 3 years. And now I've upgraded, of course. But, you know, that Tahoe served me well. The first purchase,
like when you first got your check and you're
there was nothing I bought when I first got my check. My two cars came after that.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like immediate. There was nothing I was waiting on. Now I have a house in Indiana. I have a house in Atlanta. I have 2 cars, and that's it. But like, there was nothing I was waiting on. Like, I got to get this when I get my check.
Gotcha. Well, Malcolm, man, I really appreciate your time, man. And just thanks for updating everyone on what NBA players are doing during this pandemic. I mean, a lot of people are wondering, like, how do you stay in shape? You hear players not having the access, like you mentioned, and it seemed like you're in good spirits, and I wish you nothing but the best, man.
Thank you, Telly. I appreciate it, man.
All right. That's Malcolm Brogdon on Untold Truths with Telly.